it's important that one have what I call a democratic progressive left. So the right kind of left can help balance. I think President Lula has been doing a good job in Brazil, from what I can see from afar. In his first administrations, he managed to get poverty, hunger down almost to zero. Then it went up under Bolsonaro, and now he's gotten it down again. He had a number of programs. He really delivered for the people. So if you have somebody who can give a vision of a different society and delivers, that can serve as a big balance against the authoritarian fascists that are growing in so many countries. Of course, there are what are sometimes described as left-wing populists. Many of them are not democratic. And I don't want to call them really left-wing. They're not progressive, because an essential element of progressivism is democracy, a commitment to democracy. So Maduro obviously is not a progressive. He's an authoritarian dictator who was ruined the lives of the people in Venezuela. So the labels don't adequately describe. It's not just left-right. It's really, I like the label progressive. I like the label social democracy. Committed to democracy is really important. The biggest distinction is between authoritarianism and fascism on the one hand, and progressivism and social democracy on the other.
And what do you think, for example, of President Petro?
Well, I haven't been able to study his policies closely enough that I don't feel confident that I can really comment on what he's done. I know that there's a lot of discontent with the way he's conducted his policies, and just saying that you're concerned about inequality is not enough. You actually have to put in place policies that can address the problem and strengthen long-run economic progress, because you need resources for development. And that's the question about whether he has been able to deliver. The rhetoric is one thing. The reality of what is actually delivered is really what counts in the long run.
Okay, so now for closing, President Petro government has focused on strengthening the spending on social programs, but it has also been criticized for the high level of public spending, the current fiscal debt, and increase the fiscal deficit and increasing debt. How can you balance both things, like investing in social programs, but also taking care of the public finances?
So every society has constraints. You have to live within those constraints. And if you spend more than you can today, you're going to pay the price in the future. That's just a fundamental law. If you spend the money, I'm not against borrowing. If you borrow for productive investment, that, every company that becomes big borrows. They borrow in order to grow. If you borrow to make good investments, you can pay back the debt, and there's no problem. But if you borrow and don't spend the money well, then you have greater liability and no asset to show for it. So that's the critical issue. most developing countries, there are many projects that would enhance their economic growth. Managing it is a difficult task. But Colombia is lucky that it at least used to have a very good civil service, used to have a very good competency in government and in the private sector. And this combination was the basis of a lot of growth, even in periods when there was a lot of conflict. So that was one of the very unusual things about Colombia. And, one of the concerns is some of those strengths being weakened currently. So, to answer your question, you can grow in a way that is socially just. You can borrow, but you have to make sure what you borrow is spent well and spent on investments that increase the growth and have a return greater than the rate of interest that you have to pay on the debt.